What is up, you guys? It's the Fallout with a Fear, and today I'm going to do the What if Issei was in high? What if Issei Hyoto had BT Part 3? Uh, Before we start, hopefully you guys like the high school Digs D ones. I'm gonna put that into a playlist now, and let's see what else. Hopefully you guys like it. If you do, like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna do this now in the beginning instead of the end because I don't know. I guess I like saying I like doing this in the Fallout, whatever here. Oh man, sorry if I'm breathing too much. I still have I'm still kind of like, still kind of sick, but I'm still better now. Now, where we last left off, Issei was fighting the Kendo Club, or I think that was what it was. He was fighting the Kendo Club, and nobody can pretty much hit him. Now, after the whole fight, Murayama and Caddis start taking a liking to him, and because of this, Issei doesn't have this whole I'm gonna be perverted I'm not gonna be perverted anymore. I'm actually gonna stick to, just a happy life at school. This is when after the 2 month period, Issei actually gets a phone call, and it's from Sirzechs saying, Issei, Riser's gonna be actually is gonna come over here, so I'm gonna need you and a bit of your friends, quote unquote, to basically help out the situation here. Just make sure that my little sister is okay. Issei says, "All right, that should be no problem at all," and he gets off the phone. Now, Issei actually calls someone else and says, "Hey, I need you to come with me today. Technically, Sirzechs asked us to, come and help him out." Then on the other line, it's like, "Oh, okay," you say, and basically that was it. And we're gonna go to the part where Issei and his new friend, or Issei and his friend, walked into the freaking cult research club. Issei also goes and sees that there's Riser and his peerage, and there's Rias and his peerage. This is when Issei walks in, and Rias says, "Oh, Issei, what are you doing here?" This is when Issei says, "I'm sorry, but somebody asked me to come over here." And this is when she says, "Who?" And Issei has to play it off like this is no one, but Rias knows who. There's only a few people that would just ask this kid out of anybody else to come with him. And not only that, there's also his friend, which happens to be Ozzy Argento. Now, how did Ozzy and Issei meet? Well, here's how it goes. After one of the months of him training with Sirzechs, sorry about that. Issei was training with Sirzechs in using his abilities, when all of a sudden Issei decides he wants to go back home for a while because he hasn't seen his family for so long. Sirzechs says, I will follow along with you because you need some help. Like, I need to tell them that in their minds that everything is okay, nothing bad happened. But his arm was like this because of an accident that happened several years ago, and they should have remembered that. A bit of mind control. But while Sirzechs was dealing with that, Issei was walking around and he saw a chick, and it was Ozia, and yeah, he got to sneak in a peek with Ozia while her panties were being shown. But then after that, Issei says, "No, no, 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 no. I have to snap back out of it. No, you said you're not going to be a pervert. No, I need to not be a pervert. You said you weren't going to do it, and as much as this is tempting, you got to help her out. You have to help her out because this is something that we can't just let happen." Now, Issei walks over there and helps out Asia, and Asia says, "Oh, thank you." And they actually start talking to each other, saying, "What is your name?" And, "Oh, my name's Issei." "What's your name?" "My name's Asia." They start talking to each other until Issei sees a child that falls down to the ground when he's basically crying. This is when Asia starts healing him. And Issei says, "Heal? You're healing him? With what?" And he doesn't see nothing, but Asia's just using something in her hands, and it turns out to be two pair of silver rings. Two silver rings. A pair of silver rings. Okay, a pair of silver rings. Issei asks her, "How did you do that?" And she says she has something. She has the ability to heal people, and it's called Twilight Healing. Issei is wondering, what is that? Is that like something? Is that a sacred gear or something like that? But he realizes it's a sacred gear after what she said. But he doesn't understand it at first until BT says it could be that she is not familiar with sacred gears. Judging by her attitude and the way she thinks of it, she thinks it's just something that was given to her by someone of a higher power. And Issei says, "You might be right about that, because all I know is she's just talking about it as if it was just a gift from God. And due to her looking like a nun and possibly just actually being a nun, yeah, you have a point right there." BT says, "As always," and Issei says, "Hush up now." Now, Issei and Asia start walking towards the church. The one thing that Issei is okay with is going to the church because, well, first off, Issei doesn't possess that demon, or he's not a demon, he's not a devil, so he's not actually going to be affected by it. But because of this, Issei and Asia walk in, and they actually talk in the church for a while, but Issei realizes that this is the same church that someone took him in once long ago. Now, Issei looks and talks to Asia, and then there's somebody that walks right along of Issei. And this is when he says, "Oh, look at this, another follower of God. That's good to know, because if you were a devil, I might have had to shoot you in the head." This, if you guys probably know, is Friedhelsen. And he introduces himself towards Issei. Issei is kind of cautious around him, not showing it, but for some reason he has this weird feeling that this guy is a psychopath. Which kind of he hits the money on the he hits the money on the head, or he hits the nail on the head. He hits the nail on the head, or the head on. Anyway, so after that, Issei and Fried talk for a bit, asking Issei what's he doing here, and well, a reply from Issei would be, "I helped out Ossie Argento come to the church because she didn't know her way around. And Fried says, "Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. Fair warning, you probably shouldn't be here anymore. Just for your sake. I'm a holy man, and what I'm going to say is something that you should be lucky I say. Don't come near the church again. All right, pal? It's a good thing you helped her out, but you're not worth it anymore. I won't." And this is when Asya just looks, and Issei looks, and looks confused. Fried says, "Why don't you just run along, pal?" And Issei is just irritated, but he says, "Okay." And he looks at Asya saying, "It's been a pleasure to meet you, Asya. Hopefully we meet again soon." And he walks off. Now, Issei gets these weird vibes. Weird vibes. And he starts looking, and he realizes that there's a girl with blonde hair looking at him. No, it's not Ravel, if you're wondering. It's actually that one girl, Milty, or Melina. I forgot her name. But anyway, Issei goes and talks to her, and also, what's the face? Yeah, Issei just starts walking away, and he does a light jog until some people see that Issei is doing like a full-on sprint going to his house, because he's wondering if somebody's following him. But because of Issei's speed and the fact that he can actually use those abilities of his, he's not going to do that because, well, first off, it'll look like he's even more stronger, so he doesn't want people to he doesn't want anyone who's trying to follow him know that he's potentially a threat. So when he gets back home, he talks to Sirzechs, and he also talks to his parents. After a while, Issei is glad that he sees them, but now he has to speak with Sirzechs. And he says, "Big bro, we need to have a talk. My room, please." Sirzechs says, "Oh, it was, thank you. I'm glad that I get to speak to Issei's, to Issei Hyodo's parents, who's treated me so well over this time." The parents are like, "Oh, look at that. He's being happy. He's nice to us. All that good stuff. Keep it positive." Now, Issei explains the whole thing of what just happened and what has occurred. Unlike Rias, Sirzechs is actually cautious about this, but he's also kind of stern with Issei because he explains to him that Issei is not a bad person. He's not a devil, so he's not going to possess a devil's sense or power. But because of his two sacred gears that, Sirzechs found out a while back, he should be cautious about going near a place where the enemy can find you, because they can recruit you whether you want to or not. Now, unlike me and my sister, we don't do that. We're more laissez-faire about it. Oh, if you guys don't understand what laissez-faire means hands-off approach. It's like we're laissez-faire about talking to doing other people's taxes. Like, we're hands-off on doing some people's taxes, or I don't know how to say it, but we're hands-off on people and what people do with their lives, if that makes any sense. But anyway, enough with the tutorials here, people. I want to use the big fancy words. Anyway, Issei goes and explains to him more about this one girl that has this thing that she calls her twilight healing. I don't know if she made it up, but you know, this is kind of it's kind of a weird power that she has because it might be a sacred gear, and this is when well, this is when Sirzechs looks at him and says, you said this is a sorry about that. You said that this was a freaking Twilight healing and it's a sacred gear, and you probably don't know what it is. And this is when Issei explains, saying, no, I do not know what it is. This is when Sirzechs says, Issei, the power of Twilight healing is the ability to basically heal any kind of wound, no matter how damaging it is, at any point, at any time, with the exception... No, there's no exception about it. The one thing that makes it rare is that you can heal devils, fallen, and angels. You can heal all three, anything actually. If I think about it, you can heal anything. But it's the fact that whoever was there is going to probably either use Asya or take it away from her, or probably force her to do stuff like this to heal people. And Issei looks at himself and he kind of hits his head on the wall. This is when Sirzechs says, Issei, what are you doing? Have you gone insane? And Issei says, I just let somebody go there without actually thinking about it. Not only that, there's this one weird person. He kind of gave me the creeps. He's, I guess, anti-devil. And this is when he explains it a little bit more, saying if I was a devil, or if I had a lot of sin within me, he wouldn't hesitate to shoot my head off. Or that's what I at least remember. Either way, he's bad news. Sirzechs says, this is something that I have to warn about. I have to warn my clan about, my peerage about this. We'll take care of it, Issei. And this is when Issei says, no. You trained me for a good month or so. It's time that I help you guys out. Or at least help Asya out. And he starts waiting until he finds his perfect chance to grab Asya. And Issei says, Asya, I need you to be quiet, and I need you to come with me. And this is when Issei is wondering if anybody's around him. This is when he just starts running, carrying her at top speed, and after that, using two of his dashes to go even faster than that. And he arrives about home, let's say he was a mile away. He got there within 3 minutes of just running as fast as he can. This is when Asya says, Issei, where are we at right now? Issei says, we're at the house. And Asya's just wondering, like, what house? Issei says, this is my house. Now, I need you to come with me, and I need you to basically trust me. We're friends after all, right? So you can trust me whenever you can trust me, and I can trust you. This is when Asya's kind of scared, but she says, well, you're my first ever friend, so can't just not trust you. Issei says, first ever friend? Oh man, I feel even more bad about this. And this is when he said, this is when he actually presses the button. And this is when Sirzechs basically teleports them in hell. Asya says, where are we at right now? And Issei says, alright. Right now, I took you somewhere. And I also took, well, I took you away from the bad guys. And this is when Ozia says, "What bad guys?" And Issei says, "Those weren't good people. The guy that I talked to last time while you were with me, Fried Selzen, I found out that this guy's murdered a bunch of people before. And not only that, he's not a good kind of person. I found out about his history about raping a couple of chicks or a couple of nuns because, quote unquote, I'm doing God's will. Why can't I do what I want?" And not only that, what's his face? Issei says, "Whoever brought you here was bringing you here for something that you have, your healing abilities." And he explains everything from the fallen angels because he actually found out that that's what they were, and he also explains that. Well, he also kind of realized that it was those kinds of people because one, Issei remembered the only fallen angel around here talking about a sacred gear. And he kind of put two and two together because, first off, Issei was there. Now it's Asya there. And it's kind of like a correlation between those two. Like, they have powerful people around them. Now, after all that, Issei and Asya talk a little bit more about what's going to happen and how he's going to save her. And this is when she says that she did a bad thing because she healed a devil. And Issei says, "So what? I'm friends with devils." And she says, "What, you are?" Kind of making her a little scared, but Issei says, "These are not bad people. As far as I know, I thought I was gonna go to hell. My first time I died to one of those fallen angels because of a power that I have, and also a power that you have. We have some kind of power that they want to take off or probably take for themselves. And it wasn't God that saved me. It wasn't the angels that saved me. Heck, it wasn't even the fallen angels that could have resurrected me and turned me into their chess piece or whatever they use. It was a devil that protected me. Now, I understand. You're scared. I'm kind of freaked out about this too, still. It's not every day you get to go to hell and you find out that not everything is what it says on the book. But at the same time, I'm still going to help you. Now, let's just go, I'm going to introduce you to a couple of people who I know." And this is when she actually sees a kid named Milikis. Milikis actually is a good friends with Issei now because, one, he calls Issei Big Brother, and not only that, he's fascinated with the sacred gears he has. No human has possessed one or more. No human has possessed just two sacred gears. They only possess at least a minor one, and the ones he has, one is a basic fu to society because you're a dragon, and the other one is a big fu to society because you also have a freaking robot that has so many freaking abilities. And I understand he needs to have the equipment on, but because I'm using I'm using something with magic, and because Azazel, which you all know basically gave him that gear, because of Azazel giving him something that can use its abilities without any consequence or without having to sacrifice anything. Yeah, that's a big F to society. Give me a second here, people. Anyway, so while Milikis and Ozzy were talking to each other, Milikis notices that she's not a devil, but he also knows that she's not just a human. She's also a nun. Issei explains this to Milikis. Milikis kind of being scared at first, but accepting that she's a nun. Milikis and her start talking to each other and becoming chummy, or they start to become closer. Issei and well, Issei and Azia start going to Sirzechs, and Sirzechs explains everything to Asia. Asia, first of all, is looking around, saying that everything is so freaking gorgeous, from the carpets to the drapes. Even the women around here look so beautiful. Even the men look super handsome. And she's like, "What? Where am I? This has to be heaven." And this is when, well, Sirzechs has to break the news to her. We're in hell. Technically, we're in hell. It's the underworld. And she's kind of like, she kind of faints, but then gets back up for a second, and then feels okay, but then has the urge to like faint again. But after a while, it's explained to her what had happened. Everything from her going to be used, from her becoming well, her just being like used right now, and her going to be probably sacrificed or something. Like, she's not going to survive with the fallen angels, is pretty much what he's saying. Asia's taken aback, and she's actually kind of sad, starts tearing up. And this is when he explains to Issei and Asia that those two don't actually have to become... It doesn't actually have to be like that. She can actually be reincarnated into it as a devil. Ozzy is kind of not understanding this, but after everything she's been given, and with Issei, Issei kind of sealed the deal by telling her that you can live with me and my parents. Not only that, I'm going to be here for another month or so. After that, I have to go back to my school. So, we can all become, friends. It doesn't matter to me if you become a devil or not. But if you're going to become one, you can at least know that you have people by your side. So, Issei is actually happy about this. And Asia is happy that she met Issei. It's no wonder why Issei's like, the best at what he does in her eyes, because she has this faith in him that she didn't have before. But now it's even stronger, and her emotions with Issei have grown. Even if it was just for a day, he changed her more. He changed her life for the better, more than basically what the fallen angels would have done for her in years. Which we all know what's gonna happen, so it wouldn't even matter. Now, anyway, Issei and Asia stay there for a week, getting ready for her to become a devil. And alright. She becomes one. She's actually happy about this. But after that, he goes back home. They go back to the room, and Issei's kind of smelling something weird. Like, he smells something foul. And Issei says, "Oh man, who left? Godly, there's like some rotten meat right now." And Issei says, "Hey, Mom, Dad, what's with the smell?" And it's like nauseating. And what's called Asia's like, "It smells very bad." Issei actually goes into one of the cupboards on the stairs and gets her like a little mask. And since he doesn't have one, he has to bear with it. And when he goes downstairs, he sees something wrong. The windows are broken. The floor is cracked a bit. It looks like burn marks around here. And this is when he tries to look for his parents, and he looks around the hallway, he looks around the living room, until he gets to the kitchen. And this is when basically all you see is the father and mother of Issei being that of like what's the word? I forgot what the word is. Like, they're dead. That's what I'm gonna say. They're dead, but they look like they've been pierced by something. Judging by the wounds, Issei looks at them and sees that there's been like some, what's it called? There's been something like that pierced both of them at the same time. That's why it looks like the father is holding the mother, and the mother is holding the father, and they both are hugging each other, but after that, they're on the ground. So this is when Asya looks at him and is actually walking up towards them, trying to find out what's happened, and with her sacred gear, she can detect on what was there, or at least something to go off by, and she's actually scared because the one thing she finds out is that there's traces of light magic. And this is when Issei says, well, we haven't fought in with the angels, and this is when he realizes that something that Sirzechs told him, told Asya, but he overheard it, saying the angels and fallen angels can use light magic. So either way, you have to make sure that they don't actually get hurt, or you don't get hit by any of their light attacks, because it will burn you and it will possibly kill you, since no normal devil or no regular devil that's been reincarnated can actually handle that, unless you have your Twilight healing, which would be a benefactor for you. Issei sees he hears about this, and this is when he's looking, and all you just see on the table is one black feather. And the thing, all you just see is one black feather and a note being written. And the only words that he's seeing is that, all you just see the sentence of Issei-kun, you shouldn't have taken the girl with you. This is what happens when you meddle in our affairs. And there's only one person that's called him Issei-kun before. And and now he understands why his parents are dead. This is when Issei's eyes turn blue, to a light blue color. And it turns like from light blue. Think about Ravels right now in the picture. Even lighter than that. Kind of like Albion's wings when Volley turns into his balance breaker. It gives off that aura. But his eyes don't just stop there. His eyes look like they have lines going around it. Not like veins, but looks like circuitry. It looks like blue covering circuits. And Issei is looking towards the going outside and looking at the church, telling Asya, we're going to go. I'm going to go over there and end this once and for all. And Issei sees Asya saying that there's a lot of them. She's seen them before, and she's seen the fallen angels, but she's never actually been told about, like, she's seen like a bunch of fallen angels and a bunch of followers and the exorcist. So Issei just can't go in alone. But that is what Issei is doing. And he says, BT, I need your help for a second. BT says yes. And he starts talking to him, saying, what kind of weaponry do we have? And this is when BT lists off a bunch of weapons and a bunch of freaking abilities that he has on him, including the ones he has. He has a good portion of it, but he can't use it all the time, or he can't use it all at once. This is when Issei says, I'm not planning on using it all at once. I'm just planning on killing all of them. And this is when Asya says, you can't just go there, you're gonna die. And this is when Issei says, they drew first blood, not me. Now it's my turn to draw blood. And just starts walking towards them. Or it's walking towards the church. He starts telling freaking BT to make a couple of weapons in that can actually suit his needs. BT says there's 3 weapons right now I can make, but it will take a while. The one I can create right now is that of a sniper. It's long. It has 2 shots. It has 2 barrels on it, but it could do the job. It can do the job right. There's an evolved version, but you have to get stronger in order to upgrade your powers, or at least upgrade the gun a bit. Issei says, "Alright then, start making it." And this is when he's just walking around. Not running, because right now he's trying to get all of his emotions in check. Whatever happened, it wasn't his fault. He knows deep down it wasn't his fault. But at the same time, he's blaming himself because he feels like it is his fault. He feels sad because not only did he let his parents die, but he let himself believe that nothing could have happened to them. He thought that because his friend was with the devil, all's well as ends well. Everything was gonna be okay. That's what I'm trying to say right now. But this is when he starts saying, create a barrier for around the church, so that way I won't actually have to, get the people riled up. And this is when a barrier is wrapped around. Now, Issei looks close to a couple of guards, and he just starts looking towards them with his sniper, and he just takes a shot, hitting the guy in the head and in the chest. And after that, looking at the other guy who's just looking at them. He was looking at the freaking guy that was dead, and he looks towards at where Issei shot at, and he got shot in the head and in the eye. Issei looks around, and he sees three fallen angels around him, and one of them is Melina. One of them is hold on here. Alright, it's Donaseek, and I forgot the one with there's the one with the Lolita outfit, the one that kind of exposes herself, and basically Donaseek. He sees 3 of them, and they basically say that this kid just attacked one of our members, and not only that, he doesn't smell of a devil or an angel, he's just a human. And they're like, but what about his eyes? And this is when they think, oh, look at that. He might actually have some power towards him. And this is when Issei says, yes, I have powers. I have a sacred gear on my side. I have 2 sacred gears. He actually shouts it out. And they're actually they're actually shocked what he just said right now. They're like, 2 sacred gears? And Issei says, yes, I have 2 sacred gears. And they're thinking to themselves, hey, why don't you join with us? And Issei says, I'll pass on that. But thanks anyway. I'm actually here to kill you. and whoever actually killed the person who killed my family. And Issei is trying to hold back those tears, but he grabs one of the rocks and just throws it as hard as he could, hitting Domesik in the head. Him actually saying that actually hurts. Looking at Issei, Issei says, "What are you waiting for? I like a challenge. Why don't you come towards me and I'll show you what a fight truly is." And this is when Domesik says, "You're gonna regret that, child." Issei says, "Why don't you make me regret it yourself?" And Domesik says, "That's it," and actually starts flying towards him, throwing a couple of light spears, and Issei just dodges one and just goes under the other one. And this is when he starts grabbing onto the tree and running up on it, jumping towards Domesik, trying to land a punch. But Domesik grabs him, and this is when Issei says, "You really want to grab me?" And he just grabs Domesik's face and saying, "This is for my mother," and just burns his face using the fire shield that he has on his hand, and just starts burning him. And Domesik can't see anything anymore, nor smell, nor taste anything. All he can see is nothing but pitch black, but he feels the fire just scorched his eyes. His nose, he can't smell nothing besides burnt flesh and just char or charcoal. His taste, it's gone. All Domesik is inhaling is black. Is what is the word called? He's inhaling black smoke. This is when the two just see that this kid is this kid isn't just talking out of his ass. This is when they start throwing a couple of light spears and shooting different kinds of magic towards him, but he just what is it called? Hold on. He phases away from them. And this is when they see a portal right there. Not a portal. They see that an outline of Issei's, like, I don't know what he is, but like the out traces of a blue spirit that Issei has. I don't know how to explain it, but like they see a trace of blue light coming around, and they see Issei right there again. And actually, he grabs the freaking girl, right? The girl that was there, the one with the honkers, and just shoots out a zip line towards her, and just pulls her towards him, saying, "Get over here." And yeah, that was technically a reference to Mortal Kombat. And grabs her by the throat and just slams her down. This is when Melina actually is about to run away, but Issei steps on the girl's throat, causing her to try to get out of it, and looks at her and shoots off one of her wings, and shoots her on the leg too, her falling down to the ground. And this is when he just shoots out a freaking he shoots something towards her, causing her to freaking knock out a bit. Or not shoots out, he throws a rock at her head. That's what I was trying to say. This is when he says, "Who is there? And why are you guys over there at the church? As far as I know, this is not fallen angel territory, but this is devil territory. But you girls decided to move in. Why?" Domesik is right there, grabbing him, about to hit him with a light spear. Issei looks at him and grabs something out of his, says, "Now." BT says, "All right," and looks at him and looks at the freaking, looks at the gun and says, "I don't know what this is, but wham!" shoots freaking Donosik right in the head, causing there to be a freaking massive outburst of, I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to actually, let's just say brains and stuff just come out of there. And Issei says, so you guys have the anatomy of humans. Interesting. And this is when he actually grabs her and just slaps her in the face. And slaps her in the face. And this is when the girl says, I don't care, I'll kill you as much as I can. But he places the Mozambique. And if you guys are wondering what that one gun that I was talking about, it's actually called the double take. The reason why it's not called the triple take for people who know about Apex is because, well, one, I want to use the double take, and the triple take's the upgraded version. And two, this is a BT one. This is BT, so he has memory of upgrades towards the guns, but he isn't going to just automatically use that. He's trying to find out the components on how to make it. So, yeah, I'm trying to make it to where it's BT doing it, not freaking Issei. Now, this is when he says, if you tell me where he's at, who is there, if you give me the correct information, I might let you live. But if not, you're gonna get shot. And you already saw what happened to your friend over there. And this is when she spits at him. And Issei says, you got one more chance with me, woman. And this is when Issei says, tell me who she is. Tell me why she's here. Sorry. Tell me why she's here, and I'll let you go. This is when she says, I'll never tell you, you freak. And Issei says, alright. I know someone right there that might actually be able to talk. And this is when Issei basically says, goodbye, Fallen. And wham! Right there to the chest. You see, all she sees is her heart right there. Right there, like, just hanging out. And the girl, not her, Issei sees it, but the girl's still alive. And Issei looks at the girl, and he grabs the heart. And he says, you see this right here? This is what you have. And for the final 30 seconds of her life that she could possibly have, because she's still alive by some miracle of God. Wink, wink. Issei just says, you're not going to tell me nothing because you can't breathe. And this is when he squeezes it, and the girl starts like spazzing out a lot. And this is when he just crushes it, and the girl's dead. This is when he says, well, that takes care of two of them. Maybe I should ask her. This is when he says, oh, we have all night, so I'm not actually going to worry too much about this. This is when Issei grabs her and starts going towards the lake with her. And this is when he grabs some rope that he finds off of the next by the church. And not only that, he grabs a couple of pulleys and basically makes a little device that, you know, a handmade device that could actually pull her up and down out of the water. All you just see is Melina right there saying nothing, well, basically saying nothing at first. And she says, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do this to me? And Issei says, I asked the questions here, woman, not you. And just freaking, lets go of the rope, letting her just be inside the water. And all you hear is thrashing and stuff. And her inside the water, the water right there. And this is when he says, this is gonna take forever. He's like, oh, why did I even make this to begin with? He grabs her and just starts throwing her into the, basically putting her head in the water. Now, he does this for a couple of times until she says, "What do you want?" And Issei says, "Alright, you seem like someone that would listen now. Tell me, who's in the church? How many people are there? What should I be expecting?" Questions like this. And this is what she says, "I don't know. I just came here." And Issei says, "Alright, so you're lying to me." And just grabs her and just starts drowning her even more. Keeps doing this for a good while. Like, this is like 18 plus right here. Like, this is not lemon or anything. It'll start becoming a lemon in a probably couple of minutes, but just wait. Issei picks her up again and says, "Who is there?" And she says, It's the lady of the lady that was helping us because of Mr. Kokabeel, Sir Kokabeel." And Issei says, "Alright, we got her name. Who's Kokabeel?" And this is what she says. He's one of the leaders of the fallen angels." And he says, "Alright, good girl." So that's patting her on the head. Now, tell me, who else is there? And she says, she starts being a little quiet, and he says, "Really? Want to keep going after this?" And Milty says, not Milty, Melina says, okay, he'll talk. There's a woman named Rayner. She's one of the people that is with us. There's a man named Fried Selzen." And he says, "Fried, what does he do?" And he says, "Well, he's an exorcist, and he's a crazy one, and that's why I don't go near him." And he says, "Oh, really? Why don't you go near him?" This is because he takes advantage of women that are down on their luck. He takes women that are nuns, virgins of the cross, holy women. And this is when Melina says, "Yeah." And he says, "Alright, we're getting to the goods now. What powers or what specialty does he use?" And he says, "Oh, he has a light sword." "A light sword. Alright, what else? So he's a swordsman. I'm guessing because, well, why else would he have a sword? I guess he has to stab people." And Melina says, "Well, are you insane or something like that?" And he says, "Alright, let's be nice at first." And he drowns her again. This time, he pretty much punches her in the stomach right there. And she starts, she starts to cough up a lot. And he says, "I asked the questions here. If you keep doing this, I'm going to keep drawing you even longer, to where your face is almost blue." And she says, Okay, I'll keep talking. I'll talk." He says, "Finally. Now, who is there? How many people are there?" And she says, "There's around 150. At least no more. They're exorcists, but they're not as strong as they're not as strong as Fried Selzen." And he says, "So they're not as strong, but they do pose a challenge. Great. What else can you tell me?" Fried uses a gun as well. And this is when Issei says, "Why didn't you tell me this beforehand? You could have actually, saved a few. You wouldn't have to be drowned again if you told me this. Are you sure you're not telling me anything? You're not actually giving me lies?" And she says, "No, please. No, I swear." And she's actually frightened of this dude. She feels like she's losing the strength that she once had. At first, she was kind of yapping at freaking Issei. Was about to yap at Issei. But now he's like, where does all that bite come from? I wonder. You were talking, you were talking so much to me. Now, did you kill my parents? And she says, no, I didn't kill your parents. It wasn't me. I swear, it was Rayner. And this is when Issei's like, Rayner. Alright. Now, more questions after that. This is when Issei keeps drowning her and drowning her and drowning her until she almost loses consciousness. And he's like, is there anything else that you can tell me? Why is Asya there? Why did they kill my parents? She answers them both with saying, we were going to take away Asya's abilities. And he said, we. So you were a part of it too. I wonder why I shouldn't kill you just right now. He's like, please, I swear, I'll give you, I'll devote my life to you. And he's like, devote? What do you have that the others don't have? I can also pick that one woman that, that pretended to go out with me. It stabbed me in the heart. And this is when Issei is asking her, what else can you give me? What else can you do for me? And she says, I have a lot of information. They don't treat me like I deserve respect. They are okay with me, only when I listen to them. And Issei says, you're willing to give me all the information just to save your life. And this is when Issei says, alright, you're willing to give me your life. You know what? If you pledge to me your very existence to serve me and only me, I will make you a part of the devil race. And she says, the devils? But they're my friends and my family. And not only that, the person who I said I was going to attack this place for, the person who trained me, his name is Sirzechs. The head, the new king, or not the new king, or the current king of this world, or the underworld. This is when she says she knows about who this guy is. He's as strong as Azazel-san, as she says. Azazel. Huh. Is he like you, or like the rest of them, who did something as pathetic as this? And she says, no, he's nothing like that. We actually went under Master Kokobile at first. Oh. So why'd you disrespect him and go with someone who was weaker than him? And and this is when she says, we actually wanted to start a war to show them that that we the fallen angels were superior to the devils. And he says, well, guess what? I'm not a devil. And this is when she says, I know, you told us that. We were wondering why you were so strong, but you said you have 2 sacred gears. And Issei says, bingo. So if a human like me can actually fend off you guys, what makes you think you can actually destroy the devils? And this is when Melina starts to think about this, and she wonders what made her think that. And she says, please, just let me serve under you. And he says, alright then. And he basically shoots her in the chest, saying, why'd you do that? In order for me to do this, I am not a human. Well, I am not a devil. I am a human. But I've served under one of the demon kings, and I ask you right now, Death, heed my warning. I expect nothing less from you, but do not take what is now going to be mine, or I will hunt you down myself. Now, give me back this soul, and reincarnate her into a devil. Under the name of Sir Lucifer, Sirzechs. She will be a part of my clan, for I am not a king, but I'm going to be the ruler of this peerage. And this is when she basically gets reincarnated, and she's after a while she says, "I have devil wings," and he says, "I don't know. I never seen a devil fallen hybrid. Why don't you sprout them out a bit?" And she says, "Okay." And she looks at what happened. She has her devil wings, but when she concentrates, she also has her fallen side too. And says, "What happened to my other wing?" And Issei says, "I shot that off of you. As proof is now you are mine. You will remember this scar is the one that actually gave you a new master." This is when he says, "Now, you're going to serve under me. And hopefully, you understand what happens when you disobey." And she says, "Okay." And this is when Issei says, "Have you ever kissed a girl before? Ever kissed a guy before?" Melina starts feeling a little nervous, a little embarrassed, and says, "No." And he's like, "Do you want to try it right now?" And I understand this is weird because of out of hatred, revenge. He has a reason he's doing this. It's just to let go of all of his lust. The reason why he's doing this is just to like throw all of his lust away. Now, what happens is they are starting to. This is like probably this is part of the lemon section right here, but they start kissing, and Issei, after watching a lot of porn and all that stuff, starts to use his tongue a lot more in different ways, and Melina starts thinking to herself, "How is he so good at this? Rayner said that you were just a pervert. You never actually went out with anyone." And Issei says, "Yeah, I am a pervert, or I was a pervert, but it doesn't mean I don't know how to use my perverted side. Remember this, Melina. I'm a pervert that's watched countless amount of a high amounts of lewd stuff. I've watched so much porn that I understand every single aspect of it, to a point where it's now it should be hereditary if I ever have a kid." And this is when Issei just says, "Now, we're gonna keep going." And this is when he says, "Why don't you take off your clothes?" Melina's kind of hesitant and looks at Issei, and she says, "Do I have to?" And Issei picks up her chin and looks at her dead on and says, "Did I stutter?" And she's like, "What is this?" Her mind is like, "What is this feeling? Why am I feeling like this?" And Issei says, "Do it now, woman." And Melina says, "All right." And basically, all she has is nothing on her, but her wings, her fallen wings, basically cover it a bit. And Issei just says, "With this, I'm going to drop every ounce of my pervertedness within you. You're going to serve under me. You're going to be my pawn." And this is when she says, "A pawn? Uh, I know about the rules of chess and I know how they do this stuff. Why am I a pawn?" And this is when he says, "I'm giving you the power to have potential. That way, you can do different things, but we'll talk about that later. I'll explain everything to you when we're back into my house." And this is when Issei basically starts to like grabbing her. He starts grabbing her, and let's say she has like an A cup, and he looks at them. They're both pretty much, they're really pink, and Issei says, "Who knew you were hiding such beauties right here?" And she says, "You think they're actually beautiful?" And Issei says, "Yeah, they might not be on the big side, but they're still a lovely pair." And Melina starts blushing heavily as Issei starts using his mouth on it. Starts using his tongue and just wrapping it around. After that, he goes and pretty much starts biting onto it a bit, making her moan in ecstasy and pleasure, and saying, "This feels so wrong, but feels so good." And Issei says, "Yeah, I know, I'm really good at this, but enough of the foreplay." And this is when he sees that Melina right now is kind of soaked after all that. And he says, "Well, now that I've done a lot for you, you're going to do some stuff for me." And she says, "Wait, what?" And he says, "Get down on your knees, grab it, and start chugging away." Melina starts saying, "Uh, alright." And he sees, and basically she pulls it out, and it's not, it's a good 9 inches. And she says, "Oh my, uh, do you see that? I'm not on this. I'm kind of small right now, so I'm not able to, I don't think this would fit in me." And he says, "Oh yeah, I understand that. That's why we're gonna use your mouth as lubricant." And she says, "What?" He says, "All right, now use your mouth." And she says, "Uh, uh, if you don't use your mouth, I'll use it for you. I'll use it regardless of what you say." And she says, all right, master." And basically, she starts going at it. What's called licking it from the sides. And not only that, he's also saying, "Not bad, you're actually really good at this." This is when Issei says, "Now go a little faster." And she cannot fit the last 3 inches inside of her mouth. And he's like, "All right, I gotta try this. I gotta do this for you." And he basically grabs her twin pigtails and just starts thrusting it inside of her mouth. And all you just hear is gargling and basically her trying to gasp for air. And Issei says, no, but I don't know, woman. You're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going until I'm done with it. Well, we're gonna keep going until I have to go. Until we have to go fight Rayner." And she basically keeps going and going. This is when Melina feels like already wet, and she starts trying to play with herself. And give me a second here, people. Anyway, so after that, he goes for another 10 more times, just pumping and pumping and pumping within her throat until he just shoots it all out, causing her to basically causing it to basically all go through, instead of going inside of her mouth, It goes through her throat into her stomach. This is when she basically is kind of shaking a bit, but this is when he says, I'm still raring to go with you, Melina, but at the same time, I have to go. And as my pawn, either you should walk with me into there and show them how much you've changed, or you should just go go to my house. But right now, it's needing to be clean. There's a lot of stuff I still have to say to her. Now, we shall go. Melina says, yes, master. And he says, don't call me master right now. We'll save that for later. Right now, my name is Issei, Hyoto. And she says, my name is Matilde. But people call me Melina for short. And he says, I don't know how that's a thing, but you know what? Yeah, sure. Now, they all go. He goes inside the church, and he sees Friedselsen. And he says, hello, Fried. Where's the fallen angel Rayner? And this is when he says, oh, look at that. A human. The same human I told to never come back. You know, I was actually just giving you a chance right here. But now that you're itching to die, there's no need for me to hold back, now is there? Issei says, really? And this is when he gets his, the double take, and just starts shooting it nonstop, at freaking Fried, and he's like, wait, when did you get a gun? That's not fair at all. And Issei says, fair? You're the one with the gun and a sword, jackass. I'm just returning the favor. And just keep shooting at him. And this is when freaking Fried was about to die, but he blocks with his sword. And this is when he says, oh, sheesh. You know what? I'm not going to go through this. As much as I would like to stay and be in this congregation, I'd really have to bid you adieu. And this is when he throws a flashbang at Issei, but Issei just shoots still, and Fried basically just jumps out of the window because he's trying not to freaking die from Issei. Issei sees the broken window and he says, coward. Milton is kind of shocked that he took him on, and not only that, Fried just ran off. And this is when he says, so what happened to my friends? Or what happened to, Donasik and the other one? I burned his face and shot him in the head. Then your other friend basically tried to fight me, and I gave her a chance like I did you. But she didn't want it. So, I grabbed her, shot her through the chest. For some reason, she was alive. But, she still was breathing, so I grabbed her heart, squeezed it, seeing that she was starting to spaz out, and then crushed it, giving her a swift yet painful death. And Milton says, what are you going to do to me if I didn't say anything? I would have tortured you even more, and basically let you drown in the tears and in the water, giving you what some people may have called a baptism, but you would have died. And she says, well, I'm glad I joined you. And he says, I don't know if that was sarcasm or you're just really happy to not die, but either way, I still need to talk to that bitch. Now, this is when Melina and this is when Milton and Issei go through that through that cave or the basement, and he sees all of the people right there, waiting to actually talk with Rayner. And this is when she says, "We're going to kill the devils. Rhea's Gremory and her peerage. That way, we can actually reign supreme over here for Mr. Kokabeel. We may have felt him once, but we're not going to do that again, are we?" And all of them starts cheering on. And this is when Issei says, "Oh, really? That's what's going to happen?" And people are like, "Who is this guy? Is he a priest? Is he an exorcist?" And this is when she says, "Issei, I'm so glad you're here." "Whoa, I'm so glad you're here. We were just talking about a little bit of what happened. How we broke in and actually just started to shoot you, or basically, what happened to your parents. Did you like my gift, Issei?" And Issei says, "I'm going to kill this bitch. I'm going to make sure she suffers." And Issei looks at her and says, "Well, hello, Rayner. Yes, I saw what you've given me. I do not like it one bit. But I'm going to fight you now. I'm going to torture you. And I'm going to drag you into hell. Into an eternity where you're going to suffer the most horrendous death known to existence." This is when Issei basically grabs a spitty. And this is when Beatsei says, "The word is not spitty. It is Spitfire. An LMG class type weapon. This gun has the ability to shoot at a good amount in distance. It holds in around 50 to 60 rounds, depending on a class that you can have one day." And Issei says, "I don't need to worry about that. How fast can it shoot?" It can shoot at a good speed." And Issei says, "How fast?" "What a normal LMG would in this world do." Issei says, "Perfect." And this is when he says, "If all you want to come at me, come at me at once." And all of them just start charging at him, and this is when he just starts shooting them with the freaking spitty. And all of them are just like getting onto the ground. Him just aiming for the heads as much as he can, but hitting people in the throats, in the chest, hitting them in the eyes, hitting them in the mouth, in the face, hitting them. He's trying to shoot everywhere because there's so many of them falling towards him. This is when he says, "I need to reload." "Hey, Milton, grab this and start loading it up for me." This is when he goes for one of the people, and he grabs a freaking laser cannon out of his hand and just starts shooting it at a high amount, going through probably 80 people. Since he wasted the clip, there's around 40 to 30 people that died after he was done with the gun. So pretty much he's left with 20. And after that, he just starts breaking their throats, grabbing their heads, and just crushing it with his bare hands. Shooting people, using his firewall and smothering people with flames. Sorry about that. This is when he says, "It's you and me, Rayner. It's going to be against us. And it's going to be a fight that you're never going to remember. But you're not gonna live long enough to remember it." And this is when she says, "I don't have to listen to you." And Issei says, "Well, come at me, woman." And this is when she starts to try and attack Issei. Issei takes the hit out. He actually gets hit in the freaking in the stomach. And this is when Milton sees that Rayner's actually got Issei once, but this is when Issei basically takes it out of him, and he started to breathing hard. And this is when he starts suturing himself with some of the heat from his thing or from his firewall, and he's saying, "Well, you actually got a good hit in me." And Rayner actually punched him in the face, causing him to actually fly and hit the wall on one of the walls. And Issei says, "Is that all you have?" And Rayner says, "You actually believe that you could have beaten me, huh?" And Issei says, "Well, as they always say, uh, I am a genius when it comes to stalling." And he says, "Who says that?" Issei says, "No one." And this is when Issei basically starts to unsheath the sword that he had. Actually, the what's called BG says, "Sword of the Ronin." And Issei says, "Is there any information on this thing that I can see? It looks just like a regular sword." But this is when BT says, "Looks like a regular sword, but it's very durable and really heavy. Not a lot of people can carry it unless they use all their strength. You training with Sirzechs has given you abilities like that of a devil, like a normal devil would." And Issei says, "So I'm even stronger than a devil when I was a human, and not even when I was human. What's called before I even trained into turning into one." BT says, "Yes, you are stronger than a normal devil. And once you become a devil, you will become even stronger." Issei says, "That's all I need to know," and grabs the sword and tries to slash at freaking Rayner. But her running away causes Issei to get mad and causes Issei to be mad. And basically, how do I say it? Grabs her with the freaking what is it called, the zip line, and pulls her down, causing Rayner to hit her head on the floor. And Issei sees that she's gonna try to take flight, so he slashes at both of her wings, causing her to fall down again. And seeing that the once long black wings that she had turns into a freaking, they look like they're still wings, but they're short to a good degree. From let's say from a good 5 feet, 5 feet of wings, turned into 2 feet wings. And this is when Rayner starts saying, "You bastard! What'd you do to me?" And Issei says, "Oh, I cut your wings off because of what you did. You should be lucky that I even that I left stumps right there." And Rayner says, "I'm gonna kill you." And Issei grabs his sword and is gonna slash at her, but she tackles him to the ground. Her using her freaking light spears stabs Issei's arm, and Issei is in pain, saying, "I can't move it at all. Damn it! I'm going to die. No, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to accept this." And this is when he's concentrating, but Issei has a heel towards his neck, and he's trying to breathe, and Issei is trying to breathe as much as he can. And Rayner says, "Look at you. I'm going to make you regret coming here." And this is when she grabs a light spear and is about to thrust it in her head, but all she sees is Milton. Hold on here, people. I kind of got like a brain fart right now. Shit. Anyway, Milton actually gets close onto her and just starts shooting her in the back, causing bullets to just fly out of her. And this is when Rayner is on the ground saying, Milton, why? You wretched woman. Why did you do that? I knew we should have taken you. And this is what Milton says. Even so, he's my new master. I'm sorry right there, but I have to follow his orders now. He's turned me into a devil. And he's kind to me, even though he just treated me and kind of almost killed me. Well, technically he did kill me, but I hope you forgive me, Lady Rayner. And this is when Issei gets back up again. And he grabs her by the throat. And he basically crushes her windpipe, causing her not to breathe. And this is when Issei grabs something from his a button and actually clicks it, causing all three of them to actually go inside of a portal and be teleported in front of Sirzechs in this, what's called, in a cage. Not a cage, but in a freaking... in a cage, no less. What is it called? Oh yeah. Issei is right there, badly injured. Milton is right there, and the guards, Sirzechs guards, grab Milton and Rayner, and basically they put both of them, they lock Milton up, and they lock up Rayner, and start chaining her up. And this is when Issei looks up and sees Sirzechs, and he sucks, and he says, Issei, what happened? And Issei says, you already got my first message. And I was going to tell you right now, but I got upset. I don't know what came over me, but I killed the fallen angels that were there and that posed any threat to us. And I took in the leader, or at least the leader of the quartet. If you don't know what a quartet means, it's just a group of four. There's like a solo, duo, trio, quartet, quintet, quintuplet, or octet. Something like that. Novetet, destet, diltet. Yeah, it's a weird thing, but that's what a quartet means. Anyway. So this is when Issei tells Sirzechs that I don't have any more family. And this is when Sirzechs says, nonsense, Issei. You're our family. Even though it's just been a month. You haven't hurt us, you haven't asked nothing of us. And yet we asked so much of you. We told you what was going to happen. We let you do what you did in order to fight back. We let you fight the fallen angels, even though we should have just helped you out. Issei, you are no longer just a Hyoto. You are no longer you are not just a Hyoto anymore. You are a family member, even if not by blood. You are with us by heart, as a Lucifuge. And this is when Issei says, that's nice. I'm gonna have to go to sleep, but the girl with blonde hair, heal her up, make sure she stays there. But that woman, do you have a torture dungeon? And this is when Sirzechs says, we do have one for interrogation, but if you say torture dungeon, Yes, we do have something. We have that, if that's what you're referring to. And Issei says, yeah, okay. Okay. I'm tired right now. I'm going to sleep. And this is when Asya just runs towards him and he says, Issei, Issei. And Issei looks at her and says, Asya, hey, I didn't know you got here. And she says, I didn't want to be in the house because I was lonely. So I came here, I asked to come over here. So that way, that way your house could be rebuilt and your parents could be on their, that way your parents can have a peaceful death. Or not a peaceful death. So that way your parents could, like, start to rest in peace in the grave. And Issei looks down and says, I failed them. And this is when Asya keeps healing him and she says, you haven't failed us, Issei. Sure, your parents are dead, but you, in the very end, you saved us. You saved me. You risked your whole life in order for revenge, but you did it because you loved them. They wouldn't see that, they wouldn't look at that in any other way. So please, Issei, just stay there. Just stay there with me. We love you, Issei. And Issei hears her say that we all love you. And Issei starts shooting out the tears. But he doesn't show any emotion. But deep down he's happy and he's sad. He lets all that hatred go right now. And he says, you're right. BT actually speaks in his head. You did well, partner. We should, the Dragon Emperor himself is happy that you're alive still. And is happy to see that you're going to be now one of the strongest Red Dragon Emperors ever. Ever in existence, at least. With my help and his help, we can actually make you stronger. And we can make you strong enough to protect your family and friends. And Issei says thank you. He passes out. Cuts it now the present. Cuts in a couple before his training regiment. He goes at least for the rest of the month of the training. He goes with he goes to Rayner's to where the interrogation room, and he sees that Rayner is getting tortured on a day-to-day basis. And this is when he says, "That's good to know." And they actually, what they do is basically even worse than that, is because they go to his, they actually repair the cells and the ligaments and like all the important stuff, her nerves and stuff, so they're as good as new. And they gave her these sensitive pills, which makes her like more prone to feeling all that pain. And she's there feeling pain as equally as bad as the first time she ever felt that pain. So they're basically repairing her body just to destroy it, but they're making sure to not destroy it to the point where it's no longer there. And yeah, this is her life from now on. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Issei is, what is it called? Issei and Miltit, basically, they do the deed most times than not. He basically just pours every ounce of his lust into her. And they've done it to a point to where Miltit basically, she needs it at least once a day or at least twice a day. Otherwise, she starts having these. She starts to basically squirt out a lot, and he doesn't actually do anything to Asia yet because Asia is like she's still a good child, and Issei doesn't want to do nothing to her until she's ready. Anyway, so we get to the whole point where Riser actually meets the human, and Issei meets him, meets Riser. Riser meets Issei, and Issei says, "Hello, guys. I heard about the whole thing with you and Rias becoming married." And this is when Issei hears what Rias say. "Oh, Issei, how did you hear about this?" And Issei says, "Well, this is actually because this is when the silver-haired woman named Graphia, she says, oh, that is because Issei has actually went to the demon world with us a couple of times, and actually was trained a little bit by Sirzechs." And they're all like, "Wait, what? Issei was trained by the Demon King?" And this is when Greyfield says, "Yes. Although he's not a high, even though he's not a high class devil, he's still someone he is still someone who is stronger than at least stronger than any human around here." Riser says, "Oh, so we have nothing to worry about, because he's actually that of a human." And Issei says, "Yes, I am a human, but don't underestimate me, Riser. I know I heard about what happened, and you actually going to marry her? I can't let that happen." And this is when Issei looks at him and says, "There's no way I'm going to allow you to basically go for for my bucho." And everybody's taken aback by this, and Riser says, "So what are you going to do about it, young boy?" And Issei says, "How about a rating game?" And they're all like, "Wait, what?" Issei says, "Yeah, let's do a rating game." And this is when Riser says, "You know what? I'm actually kind of interested myself in this rating game. So, you've heard about it, I suppose." And Issei says, "Yes, I watched one at least before." And Riser says, "Oh, that's nice. Was it with me in it?" And he says, "No, it was actually two other high-class devils, I believe." And Riser says, "Huh, so the fact that you haven't seen me shows that you haven't seen me in my powerful state, and in my gloriousness. No, this is no wonder why you want to have a rating game, because you don't know anything. Well, you don't know what I'm capable of." And this is when Issei says, "I'm willing to have one if the actual members of the ORC are willing to help me out." And Ria says, "Yes, I think that's a good idea. I actually want to fight for my freedom. I don't want to fight. I don't want to actually, be stuck into this marriage." And this is when Riser says, "Oh, all right. So, Issei, do you have any friends or someone like that is actually extraordinary?" And Issei says, "I know only two people, but with me there, we're gonna take you down." And Riser says, "You know what? Name your price." And you know what? On top of that, I'll let you take my whole estate. Whatever I'll let you have my inheritance. What I was inherited. Oh, hold on, wait. I'll give you what I inherited. And not only that, on top of that, at least, I'll give you my estate, and you can ask, and I'll even let the whole Rias not be married to me also go in. You can ask anything on top of that. So you're basically getting three things. But if I win, are any of the people that you're in contact with female? And Issei says, yeah. And he says, alright. If I win, then those females that you have are mine. And the women in the ORC is also mine. And Issei says, I accept. And everyone's like, wait, Issei, you can't just pick, you can't just choose for us. And Issei says, no, 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 let him be. Let him be. I'm not going to just let you, I understand that you guys don't know me. And I understand that we just met today just by talking to each other. But I'm not gonna just let you do that to my masters, well, to Big Bro's people, club members, and ORC. And this is when Riser says, "All right, so is that a deal?" And Issei says, "Deal." And this is when Riser sees that he has no arm, and he's like, "Oh boy, you don't have an arm, or you don't have your arm anymore. What happened?" And Issei says it was an accident a couple of months ago. And Riser says, "And you think you're gonna beat me? I can regenerate my limbs. Too bad you can't do yours." And this is when Issei says, "Whatever." And after that, Issei is just looking at himself saying, now I have two people to worry about. Riser and the ORC. Riser talks to Grafia about the rest of the stuff. Grafia says, "Alright, Issei, I understand that this is kind of brash, but at the same time, you're going to need all the firepower you can get. And as far as I know, you may be ready for this once we actually give you the chess pieces within you. But I don't know about the rest of the peerage that members you have and Rias's peerage." And this is when he says 2 weeks to train, 14 days. And Grafia says, "All right, I will inform Sirzechs about this." And Issei says, "Thank you." "All right, big sis, I'll talk to you later. All right." And this is when Grafia just pats him on his head, and he says, "Yes, little brother." And this is when the Rias and the others say, "All right, Issei, as much as I like the fact that you did something good for me, I want to ask, who are you? What made you want to protect, what made you come over here?" Oh, sheesh, hold on here. Let me see for a second. Okay, yeah. I think I kind of made the screen bigger or something. Issei says, "Well, your brother took me in after the incident, and I killed off a couple of servants of Kokabeels. Not only that, I also trained and fought with your brother, Sirzechs, or Big Bro for short. Not only that, I have a couple of people on my in my peerage, quote unquote, They will help. They will start helping. They started to help me out uh, months ago, or at least a month ago. One of them is a fallen slash angel hybrid, a fallen slash devil hybrid, and he explains a lot of his story to them. And this is when they're kind of moved about this, and they're actually some of them actually cry because of what happened. And Issei and Akino says, "So how do you feel about the fallen?" And Issei says, "Sometimes when I look at them, I just have a hatred towards them. I want to take all of them out and make them suffer and burn them for what they've done to me and my family. But I do know that not all of them are bad. I have someone in my peerage who is a fallen devil, who is a fallen and a devil. And I also have somebody who was affected by the fallen angels. And my parents were killed by fallen angels. But I know that there's some good out there. I don't actually hate the person who I took in was actually somebody who I fought a month ago. But after she changed her ways, I realized she wasn't a bad person. She was just a bit misunderstood. And now, because I can help her out, and now she helps me out, we see each other in a better view. This is when Akino and the others see this and they realize that he's a calm boy and a kind one, too. Anybody at this point would have just tried to slaughter all of them, but Issei right here sees the good in things and the bad, and Issei's wiser than they would have ever thought. And this is when they think to themselves, who knew the pervert of the classroom a year ago would turn into somebody who was kind and strong. And this is where I'm going to leave it off here. Hopefully you guys liked it. And like I'm not gonna say that, but yeah, this has been the Fallout. What if you here? Bye.